making you a video because I know you don't like talking on the phone. And I have lots of thoughts on the spitting with Scarlett situation, but there's just lots of them, so like it's way too much to type. So anyway, so what I learned in my undergrad special ed is something called applied behavioral analysis, and you basically determine the function of the behavior. So like essentially what is spitting doing for her? Like what is she getting out of it? Does it feel good to her? Does she have a bad taste in her mouth? Like what is the purpose of the spitting for her? So like there were I think 3 categories of like functions of behavior. One was just like sensory. So that would be again if she like it felt good, or like sort of if she had a bad taste in her mouth. There's also like getting attention, which I'm thinking it sounds like that's probably not what she's doing, but getting attention, sensory, and avoidance. So she's like trying to get out of doing something. So that would, I would say maybe having a bad taste in her mouth might be part of that category. Just like trying to get rid of the bad taste, and so sort of avoiding that. But anyway, doesn't matter. There might have been another category, but I don't think there was. I don't think that theory does a good job of like entirely incorporating things like emotional meltdowns and overload and overstimulation, but that kind of goes into the sensory category. Anyway, I'm babbling now. So basically you try to figure out, like I said, like what it's doing for her. And there's some ways you can do this. I would definitely try talking to her, but like you have to be really intentional and careful about how you phrase things. Because asking kids or even adults like why and using the word why really does not work a lot of the time. It makes adults defensive, and kids just don't know how to answer that question. So instead, I would just talk to her and be like, hey, Scarlett, like I've noticed you're spitting a lot. Like, I'm not mad about it. I just want to know what's going on for you there. Just kind of like curious and open and not like mad at her. Because, I mean, I know it's like a really gross behavior and you probably feel mad about it, and I totally get that. But like when you talk to kids about that, like, and you're mad, like it just doesn't really have productive conversations, which is something I've had to learn with my kids a lot. So yeah, just like, hey, like what's going on there for you? Like what happens when you're spitting? And it could be that she's upset about something and that's one way she's dealing with it, or it could be that she's like someone hurt her feelings and she's mad at them, so she's trying to spit, or it could be like, just a lot of different reasons. And I would go through just some like possible reasons with her, and just kind of ask her different questions, but like in a way that made it clear that she's not in trouble or anything. I just want to understand better, and like just like I think for me it helps a lot to go through with the assumption that she has a reason for doing it, even if I don't know what the reason is. Like she's not doing it for no reason. It's not something that makes no sense. It's just something that makes no sense to me. So yeah, that for me that helps a lot. And it helps me to remember for things like that the kids are not doing things like that with the purpose of doing anything to negatively affect me or whatever. Like even though it's gross and does negatively affect me, it helps me to remember that like the behavior is not really about me. Because then I can be like, well, it's serving some purpose for them, and like there is a reason behind it, and it's not like just to drive me nuts, even though that's the effect that it has. So I can try to be like understanding and like patient with them, and more like empathetic. So that helps me too. Anyway, and if she can't verbalize like why she's spitting, even with those types of questions that are like more specifically asking her, then there's a specific technique called the like ABC, like behavior modification techniques you can use as well. And so with those, it's ABC stands for antecedent behavior consequence. So like antecedent's just anything that's happening before she spits. So like you like observe and see, like, did someone do something to her? Is she actually spitting a lot after she's eating? Is she, is she spitting when she's upset? Is she spitting, after she brushes her teeth, like, and you kind of look for different things that happen before she spits. And then the behavior, of course, would be the spitting, but you could look at, like, where is she spitting? Is she spitting on, you said she spit on Ashlyn's bed or whatever. Like, is she spitting on other people's things, or is she just spitting randomly on the floor? Is she spitting, like, anywhere and everywhere? Like, just, essentially, where is the spitting happening? What else is happening while she's spitting? Is she doing anything else physically? Is she angry? Is she yelling? Is she just, like, sneaking off? Etc. And then consequence is like what happens after she spits. So that's like not just negative stuff, it's just basically anything that happens as a result of the spitting. So like, is she making other people angry? Does she seem like she feels better emotionally? Does she like get attention from anyone? Do the other kids think it's funny? Does she like, I don't know, just anything that happens. Like, so if like the kids are acting crazy at dinner, for example, and the antecedent for Ephraim acting crazy would just be literally like sitting down at dinner a lot of the time. The behavior is him like getting up out of his chair and like running around the table, or like saying ridiculous things and not being quiet and just like not listening to anything we say. And the consequence is actually a lot of the times the other kids will laugh and like join in with this behavior, and he's doing it for their attention, which we've already like discussed this with him, and he says he likes to make them laugh and whatever else. So like, then once you understand why the behavior is happening, you can make some changes. Sometimes it's giving them a consequence, like we'll tell Ephraim to leave the table for a while. That doesn't always really help much. A lot of the time right now, we actually eat dinner in my bedroom and just watch TV because it's a lot easier and they have something else to occupy their attention. So like, that helps Ephraim not to be totally nuts, and it's just a lot calmer than eating dinner at a table with like 4 or 5 people who have ADHD. I'm including myself, and probably Hazel, even though she's not diagnosed. So it helps us all to have something else to occupy us, and it helps Adam to go less insane from being overstimulated. And it just works better for us. So like, what could you do to help Scarlett with the spitting? So if she's trying to get a bad taste out of her mouth, is there something you can give her, like hard candies or something, so that she can like have a better taste in her mouth, or like, I don't know, mints or whatever. Or like, if she's spitting because she just likes how it feels to spit, can she spit in a cup? Just like, don't stop her from spitting, but just give her like, say, hey, like, this is your cup to spit in, you carry it around, and if you need to spit because you like the way it feels, that's just what you need to do to help yourself right now, then spit in this cup. Still kind of gross, but at least she's not spitting on everything. And just take, like, have patience with her on that one, if it's a, like, stimming thing, and whatever, and maybe, like, just keep reminding her gently to use her cup, or whatever, and maybe work towards, like, spitting more in private, like, in the bathroom, or in the sink, eventually, and maybe, like, find other things she can do to replace the spitting as a stimming thing. Like, would it help her to have something in her mouth? I don't know what exactly, but I'm sure there's things. Honestly, I mean, there's probably enough of a market out there right now. You probably could find things that are specifically designed to have kids with autism who have, like, oral stims, like, have something in their mouth, just, like, chew on them or whatever. So yeah, just like find something that will either modify that behavior for her so that it is less of a problem for everybody else, or help her find another way to cope and deal with whatever is causing her to spit, essentially. So yeah, anyway, if you want any more thoughts or ideas, hit me up. And hopefully this video is helpful. Just a quick summary for you, because I know I get like lost in words a lot. You can research ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis, functional behavioral assessments, that's the ABC thing I was talking to you about, and you can write those down actually and record them. Like, there are actually forms you can use for that, where you can write like the time everything happened and like the actual incidents, and it's just really like helpful to have that in that format. And I mean, you can do it on a piece of paper, but like just look it up and see the format of it and stuff. Behavioral intervention, and that's where kind of a lot of it's just rewards and consequences, which does not always help with something like autism stimming or other types of behaviors like that, but it also can help to find like the functions of the behavior and then help her to find a replacement behavior that serves the same purpose, basically. So yeah, ABA, so applied behavioral analysis, functional behavioral assessment, functions of behavior for kids, and replacement behaviors. And then one additional thing, it's a little bit like separate, it can also help to maybe process like any kinds of emotional traumas or issues that she's struggling with. I mean, if she's getting like overstimulated and stuff, I think that can be sort of a trauma for kids with autism in a sense, like a little like micro trauma that they happen to have to deal with all the time. So like, just I think understanding what's happening for her and why, rather than worrying about punishing the behavior, because like that's probably not gonna stop it typically. I mean, it can, but it really just depends on why she's doing it. Because if she's not doing it for attention, for example, then like, you know, giving her negative attention for it might just make her feel bad, but like she might not be able to stop very easily. Anyway, so that's that. I hope these ideas help. I'd be happy to talk to her. And if you want to call me, like that'd be totally fine too. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions. You can message me in response to this video if you want to, or whatever. Hope it helps. Love you. Bye.